What are effective ways to introduce therapy to Habesha parents who may not believe in it?
In terms of introduce them to like, I'm going to therapy, or I want to offer this as a resource for you to.
For them? Oh, that's hard.
Yeah. Okay.
It's hard enough for you to go, but
okay.
For you. We'll start with that.
So I, as a person who has told a parent, Habesha parent, that I go to therapy, I introduced it by saying, like, I'm very like blunt. So I was like, hey dad, I'm seeing a therapist. And I explained to him what therapy was, or like is. I told him, this is my goal and my reasoning to go to therapy, and this is what I hope to achieve, and this is what I've already kind of accomplished while being here. It's important to meet people where they're at. So I explain things in terms of questions that I know he has, or ways that he would understand it, So like, I'm not gonna go into a conversation like and bring up stuff that he doesn't care about. Like, for one, like, as a Habesha parent, they're thinking, how much does it cost? Yeah. So starting off with that, like, oh, my health insurance pays for it. Habesha families can be very secretive and very private, which I know are very different things, secretive and private, but like, they don't want other people to know what's going on in your household. They're always like, don't tell so-and-so that this happened, whatever. So I mentioned that this is a confidential relationship, so just like targeting things that I know he cares about. And when I do that, I'm able to save time, and I'm able to kind of meet him where he's at. I don't share the details of like, well, I'm here because you traumatized me. So I say I just want to support, like, somebody to talk to about different things I'm stressed about, and it's really helped me. And again, meeting Habesha parents where they're at, I still go to church, I still pray, I still do all that. This is just additional support. So that's how I've approached it. But I've also approached it with that, like, I'm not here to kind of satisfy your needs or desires of what you want for me, and you might not, like, I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm not trying to persuade you. I'm just telling you what's going on. I ultimately just want to have an open relationship where we can just talk about what's going on with our lives. So I'm treating it as less of the discussion topic, but more of, oh, I'm just making conversation with you. I'm just updating you about my life, if that makes sense. And if it leads you to share more about, what's going on in your life, etc., that's great. Although obviously there should be appropriate boundaries. Like, I don't know, how should parents want to talk to you about their marriage? Yeah. And you're what's going on? Like, they want to talk to you about, they want to talk about how other people have wronged them, but they don't really want to talk about their feelings, which is really the problem that is bothering them. So I'm open to the idea, anything that could happen, any outcome. Like, I'm open to him being accepting, because it's also important for us to not have bad expectations of, like, he's gonna shut it down, he's gonna be awful about this or whatever, like, and everything. Exactly, because again, we're like getting stuck in that vicious cycle. So I'm open to the fact that he might be okay with it, and he might have a good response. I'm also open to the fact that he might not. He might say something hurtful. He might not be okay with it. But at the end of the day, the only thing I can control is how I respond to it. So not feeling devastated if he says, like, that's an American thing, and that's not our culture, don't do this, etc. I told him he didn't really have a strong response. But I also think that don't do something that you're not mentally prepared for, If you couldn't handle them having a bad reaction, then I wouldn't share it. So gauge the relationship, gauge the vibe. Ultimately, your parent best, that relationship best. So utilize your own expertise of, like, what and then move forward with that information. For me, I didn't really I kind of worked through having strong reactions to the way my dad responded to things. So I knew it was safe, relatively safe, for me to share something so vulnerable with him. So yeah, again, assessing the safetiness of you sharing something vulnerable, assessing the pros and cons, like, and by that I mean addressing the root of why do I even want to share this? You know, do I want to share this to deepen our relationship? Do I want to share this to kind of
it's coming out of their bank account? They're the ones paying for the sessions or something?
Exactly. So knowing what your motive is really important.